Welcome to day one of Sacred Intimacy Secrets. I'm so glad you could join us here for the replay. So I'm assuming that many of you are here because you're craving deeper pleasure and with yourself. So if that's true for you, please give us a comment in the comments. Okay, so if you're here because you want to create a deeper connection with your partner, please say hello, give us a comment in the comment section in the Facebook group. There's also a Zoom chat, but I forgot to press record last night, so I'm re-recording this. So there's no one here with me, I don't think, on Zoom. So I know many of you are here because you desire deeper pleasure and deeper connection. And I want to let you in on a secret. It is absolutely your birthright to experience pleasure. That is why we are here in a human body, not just for the pain, but for the pleasure. Life is meant to be enjoyed. In fact, as a medical intuitive, when I look at the second chakra, the area around the sexual organs, when a woman is not experiencing pleasure, she starts to have different kinds of health issues. So it's really important to enjoy your life. And pleasure is one of the ways that we experience joy and happiness. And I just want you all to know that you are a natural tantric goddess. You come fully equipped with all the equipment. Number one, you have a wise, wild, feminine womb, a center of creation that brings life onto this planet through your body. It's a center of beauty and power. The next piece of equipment you have is your beautiful, compassionate heart, like the heart of a compassionate goddess, like Kuan Yin. So when you turn and the love or shine the love of your heart onto pain and trauma, you can melt those and bring the light in and turn them into love and bliss. You also are connected to spirit. All of us are connected to spirit, whether you sense that or not. And if you're here right now learning about bringing more love and connection into your pleasure, then you are contributing to raising the consciousness of all human beings on the planet. It only takes less than 20% of people to be doing this kind of work for themselves to create a ripple effect for everybody else here. So this is really important work that you're doing for your own pleasure and your own enjoyment in your relationships, but also for everyone else. And when you go deeper into your pleasure and your love for yourself, you can go higher into ecstatic union. So this is something I learned quite early on my tantric path, is that you have to have deep roots that go deep into the earth, like a tree, in order to have a trunk and branches that grow high up into the sky to catch the sunlight, and to have ecstatic union with your partner and on your own. Because when you go deeper into your body, you get deeper into that raw, wild woman energy. You know, you might know what that feels like. It's kind of can be sometimes animalistic and raw. And you have to be able to get into that as well as your sensations, feelings, your gut instincts, so that you can bring the light into any shadows that live in those areas. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shadow that lives in that raw animalistic sexual energy. Although it's purely innocent and purely natural, our culture has stamped a lot of labels on it. Like you might think that you're like a slut or a whore, or you may have had a lot of shame put on you around this part of your being that is so natural. But when you shine that light of awareness and love into those areas of your pleasure, then you can see the truth of who you really are. A beautiful, powerful being. Here as a channel, a human channel between heaven and earth. And all of you is sacred. Now, in Tao Tantra, we talk about these 3 energy centers, and I'll just point out where they are. One here connects to spirit. The one here is your heart, your emotions, your mind. And the one here in your belly connects to your sexual center. So the one in your sexual center helps you connect to the earth. And of course, this is the point between heaven and earth. And this is the point that connects us to the whole universe, God, goddess, spirit, whatever you want to call it. And our job in Tao Tantra is to weave together all of these centers, and we do so with beautiful movements like this. We have all these different Qigong movements where we're weaving together all these centers and breathing and basically doing like sacred movement and energy work through movement and breath and meditation. So you can try your own dancing dragon, dancing dragon dance at home. Yeah, so when you weave all these centers together, then it is absolutely possible to raise the vibration because you're mixing your heart and your spirit with your sexuality. So you're raising the vibration of your own self-pleasuring practice. You're raising the vibration in your bedroom with your lover. You're bringing more love and spiritual union into lovemaking. You can revive your sex drive. I know a lot of women out there are really exhausted, and these practices that I teach really help to revive your drive, to fill up your gas tanks so that you can have a libido if you've lost it. And if you already have a libido, it can help you supercharge it and make you really magnetic. So when I work with people, men and women, I tell them, be careful because these practices make you very magnetic. And I've had people return saying things like, oh my gosh, a 25-year-old tried to give me their number yesterday and that hasn't happened in a long time. I'm like, see, I told you, makes you super magnetic. It also weaves together all different parts of your being because this is a holistic evolution of your being. It's not just about sex, it's about your whole being. So you can also learn to speak up, to open your communication, to speak up for your needs and your desires around sex. I know that's really difficult for a lot of people because there's so much shame around it, but it's absolutely possible and totally worth it to open that up. You can increase your presence so that you can be more present with your own pleasure. You can be more in the moment, in your body, completely lost in trance states of orgasmic bliss. And you can release blocks to trauma and shame. This is also possible. And this is a path of evolution. That's what Tantra is about, a path of evolution. So if you don't want to evolve, you can turn off your turn off this video right now. But if you do want to evolve, stay here. Stay here for this class and come and join us Saturday night and Sunday night, because we'll be going deeper into these topics. So, who of you are ready to evolve? Let us know in the comments below this video. And you can say it with me on the count of 3. I am ready to evolve. Here we go. Are you ready? You're making a declaration, even if you're at home alone and nobody can hear you right now. You're making a declaration to the universe that you are ready to evolve in your full sexual power with your full sexual sovereignty. Okay, you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm ready to evolve. Good. I hope you could join us for that. So I am going to share with you my journey of evolution and tell you a little bit of my story so you know who I am and why you should listen to me. So I've been a woman sculpted by the clay of the earth for thousands of years. I remember a lot of my past lives, a lot of them being a woman, very connected to nature and the earth. And I know, because that connection has continued in this lifetime, that my purpose is to help women connect with their body so that they can connect with the earth, because we are here co-creating life on earth with all of this amazing life all around us, with the plants, with the animals, with the earth itself, the oceans, the rivers, the sky. So this is a message that Earth has shared with me. And so I'm absolutely honored to be able to do this kind of work. It's been my own path. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey. I often say that Tantra found me. It kept coming to me over and over and over again. And I think I know why. I've realized that my superpowers in this life are sex, heart, and spirit. I have a super strong sexual drive, a very open, kind, compassionate heart, and I'm super open to my intuition and to my connection with higher self, God, goddess, whatever you want to call the universe, spirit, other dimensions of our existence. And I've helped thousands of men and women and couples to have a more integrated connection with their body, with their sexuality, with their emotions. And I've done so through a variety of different modalities. I'm certified as a medical intuitive. I use shamanic and energy therapies. I also have dove so deep in somatic and trauma, movement and bodywork therapies. So these are all trainings that I've had through my life that have helped me to become more embodied, more present in my physical body. But it wasn't always this way. I had a lot of problems. So as a medical intuitive, I see humans, I see our energy blocks, and I see how the energy blocks can manifest as physical illness. So I went through a period in my late 20s where I became really sick, and I had a digestive disorder that was connected to me not expressing my emotions. So I really repressed my emotions because I learned early on that my needs don't matter. In fact, I believed that I didn't matter. So I didn't tell people what I needed, and I didn't express my emotions because that's how I was trained from my early trauma. eventually this turned into illness, and it got me much deeper into my own meditation and self-healing practice. That's what started it all for me. I learned that I had an incredible amount of fear in my first chakra, right at the base of my pelvis, around my vagina, from being penetrated when I wasn't ready. So I used to leave my body during sex with my fiance. There was so much fear there. I remember having terrible boundaries and anxiety. So I would attract men who wanted to have sex with me, but didn't necessarily want to be in relationship with me. And that was really confusing. And I had shame also from my grandmother and that side of my family. She called women sluts and things like that in front of me. And so this created a bit of a sexual psychological split inside of me. And it manifested for me in pretty severe hip issues. And then eventually it got so bad that my clitoris went numb. And every time I touched it, I would get like this zappy nerve pain, or I couldn't feel it at all. So I really had to rehabilitate myself. All of these things made for really a lot of difficulty in relationship. I was needy. I was afraid of being abandoned. I was afraid of being judged. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back was, I remember that I have this one memory of being in a beautiful park with my boyfriend, and we were walking hand in hand. It was October, so it was kind of cold, and I had tears streaming down my face because we had been together for 8 months, and he still couldn't tell me that he loved me. Now, we had an amazing connection sexually. It was very energetic. We were really drawn to each other. It was so magnetic and so exciting. But I had been in really loving relationships, thank God, many of them, where I was totally in love and my partner was totally in love with me. So I could feel that when me and him were having sex, something was missing. That little piece of love that he was holding back, I could feel that. It was it was really exciting and sexy, but it was like the glass was half full. Like I didn't feel that full love feeling. So in that moment, I had a decision. And my decision that I had to make in that moment was, I've come so far. I've gone through all of those issues that I just finished telling you about. So many problems in my relationships because of them. I can choose right now to believe that I am worthy of love, or I can take this personally and make myself suffer so much. I chose in that moment to realize, okay, I am worthy of love. He is not ready for it. We're not compatible right now because this is what I want and he is not there yet. And I never looked back. But I wouldn't have been able to do that with all of the help and the support that I had. The counseling, the energy work, the trainings, oh my gosh, like 3 communication trainings, all of the thousands of hours of tantric practice and self-love and self-healing that I gave to myself. But I'm happy to report that as a result of all that, I don't leave my body during sex. I can express my emotions and my sexual needs and my fantasies and desires. I actually just recently had one of my longtime sexual fantasies actualize, and it felt so good. And this is a path that just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I know I'm not done. I know there's more to do, and it is so fulfilling. And that is why I am so happy to be able to help so many other couples on this journey. So, and because of this whole experience, I believe that relationship is a spiritual practice, because none of us exist in a vacuum. We need each other to see and experience who we are by our reflections. So I'm wondering, how is your relationship with others or yourself a spiritual practice? Take a moment to think about that. How has your relationship with others and yourself been a spiritual practice? What have you learned in your life from different relationships? A lot, right? Please write in the comments below and share with us. And if you ever have any questions, just write them in the comments and I will get to all the comments afterwards. So we're going to get into our content for today. Today, I'm just going to tell you what we're doing today. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 tips to turn sex into tantric lovemaking and spiritual connection. And I just want you to know, I didn't go on the internet or read a bunch of books and come up with these. I, as a medical intuitive, tune in. I tune into groups of people. So I actually tuned into everybody who's going to be listening to me talk. That's you. And so these tips are especially curated for you, this group of people that are here listening to me. So I just wanted you to know that. We're also going to talk about the common blocks that prevent intimacy from occurring in relationships. And at the end, we're going to end with a beautiful practice to connect your heart and your sexual center. So I am going to share my screen. So in just a moment, I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint presentation. So that I can show you share screen. Okay, here we go. Just give me 1 second while I get this going. Okay, so here we go. These are my 5 tips to elevate sex to tantric lovemaking and spiritual connection. Tip number 1, this is a mindset. So it's really important to have this reverent mindset. You can think of reverence as appreciation, really cherishing your sexuality, thinking of it as sacred, even to going to the extent of worshiping it. But really, it's about honoring and respecting our sexual organs, our body, our sexuality, the sexual energy between us. So if you're making somebody wrong for their sexual energy, you're not honoring and respecting. If you're making your own pussy bad and ugly, you're not honoring and respecting. We did this amazing ceremony in the 5-week Tao Tantra teacher training that I teach at. We have all the women come into this beautiful room, all these cushions, and they're in partners, and there's flowers and candles and incense burning. And The teachers first demonstrate a Yoni worshiping ritual, and it's so beautiful because one woman bows in front of the other woman's Yoni and has a conversation and asks her to share about all of the pains she's had and all of the pleasures, and she gets an opportunity to pray and bless that Yoni. We even like dip flowers into the water and sprinkle it onto the woman's Yoni. Yoni is a Sanskrit word for the female sexual organs. It's another word that we use to describe our female genitalia and sexual organs and vulva. And then they put a candle in front of the Yoni so you can see it's beautiful. And then we take flowers and rose petals and all kinds of different flower petals and decorate the Yoni. And if that woman is okay with it, all of the women stand up and they can do a bit of a pilgrimage around to each Yoni temple and bow in front of each Yoni temple. So it's such a beautiful ceremony because women, they basically have their Yonis be totally seen as sacred and honored and respected and even worshiped. So it's so beautiful. I would love to be able to do that kind of experience with all of you. But one of the things that I realized during that ritual is I looked deep into the Yoni of the woman who was sitting in front of me, and I saw what the Yoni communicated with me. It told me it was a divine portal. It's a portal between worlds. As I said, it brings souls and spirits from other dimensions into flesh and bone. It is a divine portal. And the Vajra, which is the Sanskrit word for the men's penis or cock, is a wand of light or a staff of light. So you can do different things in your relationship to worship each other. You can have beautiful self-pleasuring rituals where you really deeply honor yourself. You can also really deeply honor each other, massage each other, treat each other with so much appreciation and respect and love. One thing that we do in Tantra is we bow a lot to our partner. That is a symbol of recognizing the divine in them. So another thing that you can do to create a reverent atmosphere is to create a sacred space. So like I said, we decorated this space and made it really special. You can do that as well with your own environment. Playing music that you like, having essential oils that you love to smell, just making that time for connection in intimacy really special. So this is really delicious and yummy. I hope you get a chance to experience that. My second tip is to recognize our humanity and our vulnerabilities with compassion. We all know that relationships are not easy. We have worries, fears, anger, hurt, loss, so many shadows and so much trauma in our human psyche. Even a lack of education around how to please your lover can really leave you feeling super frustrated and at a loss. But it's so important to come to all of this and to meet it with love. It's important to practice that with yourself first. So learning to love and have compassion for yourself. I create an inner smile meditation, which I'm going to practice with you later when we do the heart sex connection, so that you can really start to learn to do that for yourself. Once you learn how to really do that for yourself, you can also do it with others. So it's so helpful if you can be compassionate in your relationships. So, you know, some marriages have turned from being completely sexless to being the most amazing sex ever. And that wasn't done without a lot of compassion. Just pile a lot of compassion into your relationship for everything that you go through together. Okay, so tip number 3 is to connect to your needs and your wants and your sexual energy. So to do this, you need to spend time with yourself. You need to spend time alone, pleasuring yourself, learning what your body wants, what your body likes, trying different touch, trying some of the things that I'm recommending in this 3-day experience for you, and even going deeper, because I'm really just kind of talking about the tip of the iceberg here. Then there's actually going and doing it all, and there will be more support for you to be supported on your journey if you choose. I'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow and the next day. But really learning yourself and then being able to express that. I know it's so awkward to talk about sex sometimes. It's a hard conversation because there's a lot of taboo and shame around it. And would you believe that there are men and women and people of all identities in relationships who have difficulty talking about their sexual experience and what they want. And as a result, the two people in the relationship live in complete isolation. And sometimes they find out, oh, I like kinky things. Oh, I like kinky things too. And this whole time they didn't know because they didn't talk about it. This is something that blows my mind because I've been working with people for so long, and I see couples who've been married for like 20, 30 years. And I say, do you talk to your partner about this? No, they would never go for that. I never talk about it. Okay, you need to start having conversations. And I know that I could give a whole course about communication. And this is a way that I do like to support people in my women's program, is with communication, because there's so much to learn and it's so empowering. I know it's awkward. You just have to get through that awkwardness and have courage and share how you're feeling. It is so worth it. My 3rd tip is to connect, have the intention to connect on all the different levels of your being. You have spiritual being, a mental being, an emotional being, an energetic being, and a physical being. So when you make an intention, intention is really, really powerful. It can expand your experience greatly. And I love what Osho says about intimacy. He says, into me see. When you're able to have real intimacy, you can really see a person in their wholeness much more. You can take off the masks. You can become more vulnerable if you allow yourself to become more vulnerable. You can come as you are, no pun intended. But there is so much connection between these different levels of our being that we often don't realize. But just having the intention to connect to them can bring them out and make you more aware of them. I'll just give an example. You know, the physical and emotional and spiritual being is so connected. In Tao Tantra, we learn about sexual reflexology. So when a penis goes into a vagina, the cervix and end of the vagina is stimulated by the tip of the penis. Now, the cool thing is the tip of the penis and that area inside the vagina are reflexology zones of the heart and lungs. So you're actually massaging each other's heart and lungs with deep penetration. And deep penetration in around the cervix area can create cervical orgasms. I've experienced loads of cervical orgasms, and what happens for me is it's like an energy is shooting up through this core channel. There's an energy channel right here through the core of the being and exploding in my heart. And often it's like an explosion that clears away all of the debris that's there, any hurt, any pain, any sadness. It's just, I usually end up crying. It's like a huge emotional clearing and cleansing of my heart. So having the intention to connect on those levels of your being also helps your partner to be aware that, like as a woman, I really appreciate when my partner is a rock. If I'm going to have an emotional explosion during sex, that he's there to hold me and to accept all parts of my experience during sex. So that's just a little example of the connection of different layers of being. If you have any questions, just write them in the comments below our live stream. Okay, the fifth tip is to get to know and care for the other as yourself. So as we talked about, it takes time to get to know yourself sexually, what you like for pleasure, but then this is also getting to know and care for your partner and the kinds of things that they want. So think about a woman who has like a 7-month-old and a 2-year-old, and she's literally tied to these baby humans that are attached to her body all day long, feeding them energy. It takes so much energy to feed and look after baby humans. She is totally depleted and exhausted. By the time those kids go to bed, she's like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if her partner could tune in to her state and understand what it is that she might need? She might need a foot massage, like in this picture. She might need some cuddles. She might need some non-sexual touch. We'll go deeper into this, but there are different types of touch. One type of touch is nurturing touch, and we all need nurturing touch. We can't survive without nurturing touch. Babies cannot survive without being touched. It's not enough for them to be fed. We all need nurturing touch. So asking maybe for sex is going to be pushing her a little bit past what she's able to do, because she is totally depleted at that point. She needs to be filled back up, and she needs to be filled back up with maybe some non-sexual nurturing love and touch. So that's why I say get to know and care for the other as yourself. So you need to get to know them. I put get to know and care for the other as yourself or your car, because it's just a little joke, because guys really love their cars and love to focus on their cars. But if they knew their partner as well as they knew their car, and vice versa, if women knew their men and what their men wanted, because what men and women want are different. We're not the same creatures. So it's like getting to know the psychology of the other sex. So do what they would want, not what you would want. That's a common mistake that is made. Okay, so those are my 5 general tips. I know that these are kind of general, and we're going to go into more specifics on Saturday night. That's actually tonight, because I'm redoing this. I had technical difficulties last night. But tonight, Saturday night, day 2 of Sacred Intimacy Secrets, we're going to be going deeper into 3 keys to deepen your sensual pleasure, your erotic innocence, so you can be present and surrendered in sex without shame. And we're also going to cover how you can expand the different types of orgasms you experience. And I'm going to do a juicy self-pleasuring practice on day 2. So I'm super excited to do that with you. But before we move on to our practice for today, I just want to cover some really common resistances that couples have in relationships. Now, I want this training to be really inclusive. I know I'm using the word men and women, but we all know that there is yin and yang. So even in a couple of same-sex people or even non-binary people, one person might exhibit more feminine qualities, and one person might exhibit more masculine qualities. This is simply a principle of Tantra that we play with and work with because opposites attract when there's a polarity factor that exists. We'll get into that right now. So when I say men and women, I'm sorry, but I mean masculine and feminine. The more masculine, I would say man, the more feminine, I would say women. So I know languaging is really important, and I do want to be very inclusive here. So, and I'm bisexual, so I not only had relationships with men, but I've also had relationships with women, and I really appreciate that ability to talk about all different kinds of relationships. But for the sake of our conversation here, I'm first going to go into common problems that women or vulva-bodied humans or humans who take all of the female hormones experience. So common problems across this industry as reported, not just by myself and all the experience that I've had, but also reported by other intimacy coaches and sex therapists. These are the top ones. So insecurity with body issues, and you just have to look around in our culture to know that there's a lot of perfection placed on female beauty. Female beauty is highly sought after thing. So to be able to feel comfortable and to love your body is so important. But this can also be a huge block and resistance to sex. Just so you know, pleasure and arousal has nothing to do with how you look. It's about how you connect into yourself and how you feel inside your skin. So it doesn't matter. A lot of men too say they just love their woman when she's feeling sexy, and they don't care if she has extra roll of fat around her belly. They just want her to feel sexy as well. Another big resistance is sexual abuse and trauma. 1 in 3 women, sadly, will be sexually assaulted in her lifetime. And I believe that you don't have to be raped or have a sexual assault to experience sexual trauma. Sexual trauma can be a lot of little things that happen over your life. When I do these 5-week Tantra teacher trainings, a lot of the women have a chance to get up in the middle of the room and share what we call a forum style sharing circle. And you wouldn't believe how many of the women come up with comments their boyfriend made when they were 17 or when they were 14 or when they were 21. And it's all these little things that can accumulate into being sexually traumatic for women. So you don't have to have been raped. And furthermore, you can be carrying sexual trauma from your mother and your grandmothers and your ancestors. You can be carrying sexual trauma from your culture just by being there and observing things happening around you. So this can be a huge resistance for women and men in relationships. And it's possible to heal. I am living proof. I do not leave my body when having sex anymore. I do not feel fight or flight when I'm having sex anymore. So if you want to learn more about that, stick around because there'll be more opportunities for you to get help if you're struggling with that. Another thing that really blocks us is shame that's imposed by religious and cultural upbringing. These beliefs that we're surrounded by from our families and religion can really add a lot of shame onto our sexual experience. Of course, there's this negative feedback loop that is really well known about in this industry. It's the pressure and expectation turn off feedback loop. So I'll just give you an example. Quite often in a relationship, it's often reported by men that they're not getting as much sex as they would want to. So if the man is feeling sexually rejected, that's huge for him. I've heard a woman's specific sex coach say, men are so hurt by it. For them, this is what she said, you might not, if you're a woman, you might not like me saying this to you, but for them, it's like as if your partner was telling you that you're fat and ugly every single day. So it's for men, they really, really need that physical connection. So it's really a big deal. So they end up feeling really, really rejected, but then they put a lot of pressure onto their partner. And then she might feel a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure, and then also start feeling like she is not sexy enough for him. And then this loop just goes on and on and on and on until you break the loop. And it is possible to break the loop, but it does take some education and some learning on behalf of both people in the relationship. So fear of new experiences, another major block. One of the things that keeps sexuality alive in a couple is novelty, so new things, and variety. And some people are really afraid of having new experiences. They're afraid of having new experiences. I think the deeper psychology of that is that they may be afraid to change. They don't want to change anything. They want to keep everything the way it is because they don't know what it would be like if they change things. So yes, there can be a lot of fear around new experiences. Another huge resistance is lack of education. And that is why I'm doing this, because I recognize that our sexual education is not that good. It's like okay to lacking. I've actually read national reports on sexual education in Canada, and the reports are that it's hit or miss a lot of the time. So we don't have good sexual education. But the fact that you're here right now shows that you are doing something to help yourself and to help your relationship, which is great. More people need to do this. And then also, of course, you can get stuck in your past experiences. So just as an example, I had a boyfriend once and I was with him for about 3 months. And I was like, man, he still has not gone down on me. What is going on? And I remember talking to my girlfriends about it, being really upset about it. And so I talked to him one day and I'm like, why haven't you gone down on me? And I kind of guessed. I said, have you had a bad experience going down on a woman before? And he said, yeah, he had a bad experience. There was a bad smell. And I've heard stories of that bad smell being a forgotten tampon. There's all kinds of experiences that we have that can make us not want to do something. But we have to learn that we can have a variety of different kinds of experiences. So I actually retrained that boyfriend to love going down on me by introducing him to 69. And of course, I smelled great and he loved it and he was receiving pleasure. And it was some of the best 69 that I've ever had in my entire life. So even, your good experiences, you can get stuck in good experiences. Something that I've realized is I've had so many extraordinary sexual experiences that are very spiritual and very connected and very out of body. Like I've had full body orgasms and all kinds of really amazing things. The same thing almost never happens exactly the same way twice. So yeah. Now, a lot of resistances that can happen more kind of from the masculine side of things, I'm going to talk about that right now, is one of the big things that can be happening in a relationship that creates lack of intimacy is that the masculine person is not providing safety and trust for his feminine partner. So an example of that is, if he's abusive, that's definitely not safe. If he's verbally abusive or emotionally abusive, that's not safe. But also, if a masculine person or any person can't hold space emotionally, then the feminine counterpart is not going to feel heard, seen, or held. So she needs to be able to be emotional and be vulnerable. And he needs to play a role of being a rock, being present, listening, not fixing, just being present and listening with love and letting her express and emote. Because for women, expressing and talking is one of the major things that reduces their stress. So this is something that the author John Gray talks about in Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He's got a lot of books and they're all really amazing. One book that I read after I broke up from my fiance was When Mars and Venus Collide. It's a book that talks about how men and women deal with stress differently. After I read that book, I was like, oh my God, I wish I read this while I was engaged and in a relationship for 4.5 years with my fiance, because things would have gone a lot differently, just understanding how we're different. So being that rock and creating safety and trust in the relationship is the job of the masculine. The man or masculine or our partner can also have a lack of education about women's physiological and psychological arousal. So we're going to talk about arousal more tomorrow, but arousal for women is very mental. So it's very psychological and emotional. And of course, it's very physical as well. And there's so much to learn about how women are aroused. So there's a lot of lack of education around that. Masculine or a man or a penis-bodied human may have a problem of lacking stamina or lacking the ability to perform. So that would be something that he would have to learn more about. And again, talking about that masculine being the rock, a lot of problems in relationship happen when the polarity is not there. So that attraction between the north and south pole of the magnet, that's like the attraction between masculine and feminine. But the feminine needs to be feminine, the masculine needs to be masculine. Of course, we know that we have masculine and feminine in both, in every person. I have a very strong masculine side. In fact, my whole life, my masculine side was too strong and I was too independent. And guess why I haven't gotten married? It's because I've been so independent. I realized that my extreme independence and not letting someone do and give and provide support for me has kept me single half of my adult life. I didn't realize that until I looked really deeply into my beliefs that I was holding inside my vagina. So when I realized that, I was like, oh yeah. And so that's why I had this quest to become this balanced person and to learn to be more yin, more receptive, more accepting, more open, more soft, more caring and nurturing for myself. Nurturing myself, yeah. So there's a polarity in relationships, and the masculine person has to take charge. They have to take charge, they have to take leadership and take power in their relationship. You know, like that's just like doing things without being nagged. Like, who wants to be in a relationship with their mother, and who wants to be in a relationship, like a sexual relationship with a child? No one. So that masculine is someone who needs to take charge and have, I don't want to use authority because authority can seem like power over, but just this take charge leadership attitude. And that creates a lot of polarity. So if a man allows a woman to take over authority in all the relationships, all the decisions, everything is her, she's in charge of it all, then there will be a loss of polarity and the sexual attraction may stop because of it. Another thing that can happen, especially in that negative feedback loop that I mentioned, is a neediness. So neediness is like a fear that you're not going to get your needs met. And I've experienced this, and one of the things you need to do to help yourself is to first accept the fact that you have needs. Often people who are needy don't like the feeling of needing things, and you need to realize it's okay to need things. It's okay to need physical touch. It's a natural thing, but you also have to start to build that up yourself, because if you're too needy towards another person, they're going to just feel like you're sucking this energy from them as opposed to giving. So being more giving is going to really help a needy person as well, giving to themselves and giving to others. It just brings to mind a story that I heard from another sex coach. She went to these sex parties where there was lots of couples having sex, and she kind of mentioned this one guy that she always was like, oh, she never got a good feeling from him. She'd been to a lot of parties with him, and she was like, she was never drawn to him and always kind of like walked around him and tried to steer clear of him. But she went to a party once, and like her feelings for him changed all of a sudden. She was like, oh, this is interesting. I am drawn to him all of a sudden. Do you know what changed? He told her that he went to the sex parties up until that day looking for what he could get out of it. So coming from this kind of egotistical, selfish place. But that party, he changed his attitude, and he showed up with the attitude of, what can I give? What can I give to other people to help them to have more pleasure? So, you know, in this whole seduction dance between masculine and feminine, if you're seducing for selfish and egotistical reasons, that's automatically going to be an energetic turnoff. We can smell that out. But if you're seducing for the other person's sake, that's heart-centered because you want to open them up to a beautiful new experience and fill them with love, that's a very different energy. It's like if you have children You want to show your child all these amazing things and have all these amazing experiences of the world. You are giving them experiences. It's the same thing with sex. So be careful of that neediness. Be kind to yourself if you feel needy. Try to fill yourself up and then give. Okay, so I think that's all of our common resistances to sex. So if you have any questions about those, you can write them in the comments. And I'm going to stop the screen share. All right. Great. So we're going to do a practice. So if you have any questions or comments about everything we've talked about up until now, please write them in the comments below this live video. And I want to end with a beautiful practice of heart-sex connection. So you can connect more deeply into this connection between your heart and your womb space. Before I go into that, because I know I'm going to lull you into this beautiful dreamy state and I want to leave you there, I'm just going to share that I invite you to take me up on a just a second. I invite you to take me up on a completely free 30-minute sacred intimacy discovery session. In that session, I do a little mini medical intuitive assessment to, I listen to you and all the things that you're feeling challenged by and trouble with. And then we can also lay out a mini plan for you and you can see where you need to go in your healing. And we can see if we are a fit to do more work together. And I will provide the link to that session in the comments below this live stream. And if you're on my newsletter and you're coming to live Zoom calls, it'll also be in the email that I sent out Saturday morning and Sunday morning so that you can book those free 30-minute sacred intimacy discovery sessions with me. So I'm about to lead you into a practice now. So have a drink of water. If you're watching the replay, you can pause the video, go to the bathroom. And I'm going to get you to lie down for this experience. So you'll want to maybe lie on the couch or put a yoga mat on the floor with some cushions. I'm going to describe how I'm going to get you to lie down and the position first. So just follow me here for a second. So I'm going to get you to lie on your back in butterfly. So I'm just going to put my camera down so you can see. Butterfly position is when you put the soles of your feet together and your knees are out to the side. So you can put cushions under your knees to support your knees. Now, in this position, you're going to be very open. So your legs are open. Your quad is open. Quad are these energy gates on the inside of your hips. And these gates help the energy flow from the earth up through your feet and the insides of your legs into your sexual organs. So this open quality just helps energy to flow up. You can do other things to open that energy, like massage your feet and the inside of your legs to get more energy flowing up into the sexual organs. Of course, you can do all kinds of massage to open energy flow and circulation around the belly and the pelvic area and the hip and the creases of the legs. We're going to be talking more about massage tonight. It's Saturday. I'm re-recording this. I forgot to press record last night. So, and then I'm going to get you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly over your sexual center. And you can just place your hands like this or like this. And I've been experimenting with different hand positions. And so I'm just going to share what I have been learning is that if you try different mudras, this one with the middle finger seems to work really well for me. When I hold my fingers in these mudras with the middle finger, it seems to take even more of my awareness into these centers. So you can try that if you like. You can try your other fingers and see what that feels like, or just place your hands so that you can feel your breath. Okay, so I'll give you a second to get comfortable. I'm going to play a little bit of music for you and guide you into a heart-sex connection meditation using the Taoist inner smile. So I teach Tao Tantra, I teach Tantra teachers, Taoist practices. You can see on my website I have different courses. And I'm going to be taking women on an incredible journey for 6 months starting in May. So stick around tonight and tomorrow to learn a bit more about that. So close your eyes, get into a position where you feel relaxed and supported. Cover yourself with a blanket, get some pillows. And just start to breathe with your hands on your body. Start to feel your breath. Feel your body settling on the ground, your back relaxed, your legs relaxed, open and supported with pillows under your knees if you need. And feel how your breath is expanding and contracting in your chest and in your belly and in your pelvis. So we're going to do a few discharging breaths. I'm going to get you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And exhale with a sigh and a sound. So discharging is just to release any energy that you may need to release. Another deep breath in through your nose. And exhale with One more deep breath. I invite you to open your voice and make sound on the exhale. Good. Now let's go to a regular breath, breathing in and out through your nose. Just feel any mind chatter slowly draining down from your head into the awareness of these two spaces under your hands, in your heart center and in your womb center. They call the womb the second heart. Sinking deeper with your awareness into these two spaces. yourself totally supported by the earth. Thanking the earth for supporting you. Starting to tune in to the life pulse inside your body. Feeling that pulse of your heart, feeling the pulse in your belly, in your womb. Maybe even feeling the pulse in your pelvic floor, in your hip creases, in your groin. And I'm going to get you to imagine all of the support that's coming to you from the universe, from the stars, the moon, planets, the sun. And next time you breathe in, I'm going to get you to imagine you're breathing that sunlight in through your third eye, the point between your eyebrows. And that beautiful golden sunlight just creates this smile on your face. Content, blissful, happy feeling. Just imagining the warmth of that sun, like you're lying in the sun. Your body is warm. And your eyes are turned up into a smile. And your lips are turned up into a smile. If you have to think about a pet or someone that makes you really happy, you can imagine that person's face. Or you can imagine something that makes you so happy to bring that smile to your face. Imagine taking that love and light from the universe, from the sun, into your third eye, into your smiling eyes, and shining that golden light down into your heart, opening your heart. Like the sun shining on a beautiful flower in the morning. The flower begins to open. And let the sunlight in. Notice your heart becoming softer and more relaxed with each breath. Looking down into your heart, seeing a beautiful pink rose-colored light. Bathing your heart in light. Acknowledging any pain or struggle or constriction, and just accepting yourself as you are. Showering more light into your heart. And just watch as your heart begins to soften and melt and relax. Take a nice deep breath into your lungs, into your chest, around your heart. And you can exhale with the sound, it's a healing sound for heart. deep breath in. And exhale. Just releasing any constriction, any tension around your heart area. Connecting to your breath and that pulse of light with the pulse of life and the light within your heart. Smile into your heart. And then we're going to shine the light of our heart down into our womb space, into our pelvis. Like shining a flashlight, you use your mind and your eyes to look down. Shining the light into the roots of your flower. Osho says, sex is the seed, love is the flower, and compassion is the fragrance. Shining the light into the roots of your flower. Feel this connection between your heart, your upper heart, and your lower heart in your womb. Smiling with love and compassion to any suffering there. Any sadness, any grief, any loss. Any anger, any hurt, any mistrust or anxiety, any fear. Completely bathe your womb in love and compassion and light. If you want, you can make the chew sound to release fear into the earth. This is the healing sound for the sexual organs, to release fear. You can imagine any of these emotions just melting down from your connection, from your pelvis, deep down into the earth. The earth knows what to do, how to compost, transform this energy. Nice deep breath in. And exhale with a ch. Just let any emotions be there that are there as you bathe your womb in light. Embracing all of yourself with compassion. And continue to feel this relationship between your heart and your sex. Feel the connection through the center of your body, connecting these two areas, making it stronger. And you can ask your womb, what do you need? And listen with patience. What does your womb need? What does she want you to know about her right now? Listen to her. thank your womb for any messages that she gives you. And if you can give what she needs to her right now, you can give that to her right now. And remember, when you touch yourself, you can always ask your womb, how does she want to be touched? You might try asking her that now. How do you like to be touched? How do you want to be touched more often? And listen with patience and love and acceptance. The wisdom of your body knows. The wisdom of your sexual energy loves to be listened to very carefully by you and by your partner. So important to pay attention and to listen with all of your love and all of your awareness to how she wants to open, to how she wants to move energy. Say thank you for any messages you're receiving right now from your Yoni. And remember this connection. Remember that you can talk to her anytime. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the deep wisdom of my being. May you create the wholeness within you, sexual sovereignty, love for your beautiful, powerful sexual center. Thank you, thank you, thank you for taking this time to connect with yourself. And if you wish to continue with your meditation, you will continue. You can continue now. And I look forward to seeing you tonight live for day 2 of Sacred Intimacy Secrets. Thank you, thank you, thank you.